Hi everyone, welcome to Quilt and Code. It's good to have you here this morning for my, rejuvenating stitches time. I am relaxing before we head to Pigeon Forge for the week. We're going to be working at the Mountain Quilt Fest um, expo. And so there are 47 vendors there, plus hundreds of quilts on display. Please come and join us if you're in the Pigeon Forge area. We would love to see you. So we are working on the Hankie Challenge this morning. The Hankie Challenge is my Monday morning time to create and get away from everything else in my life and just try and let my design juices flow. Sometimes design juices don't flow as well as they should. And so I think I'm having a designer's block when it comes to my 3D element. And so I decided that this week we'll just skip that for a little time and get some blocks together. The color scheme was not sitting well with me. And so I decided I needed to take a break and just look at the hankies again and see if I was going in the right direction and where I wanted to go. Because when I looked at the blue and yellow, anyway, so I am going to take a sip of my wonderful coffee this morning, and then we're going to jump right into it. Today, we are going to create our window size blocks with the new colorway and see how that goes. All right, everyone, now that I've had a little bit of coffee, and then the other thing I need to tell you is that Moda has provided a little scrap bag for a commenter on our lives and on our other videos. And so we will be taking anyone who comments and placing you, giving you an entry into a drawing for this little Moda scrap bag. And Derek, my son, is running the camera, and I'm hoping that he can maybe get the little camera to show this little box of goodies. And we will be giving this away in a week and a half. And so you will be entered if you make a comment. You will automatically be entered into a drawing. Will is watching all the comments and putting your names down, and we will let you know if you have won. That will be, I think it's on the 20th of June that we'll be giving that away. And so please comment, like, subscribe if you haven't already done that. Okay. So this project is, we have already done if you're new to the Hankie series, we've already done a bag. We've already done a notebook cover. And the way this series started was Joyce, a friend of mine, brought me in a whole bunch of hankies. And she said, I don't know what to do with these. Make something that I can use with them. And so then she said, and I want you to do it live on TV, live on YouTube. And I went, okay. That sounds like an interesting idea. And so you guys are seeing all my design process. I am trying not to do too much designing other than when I sleep. Before I get here, I do start setting up and making sure I have some stuff about an hour before the live, but that's all you're seeing. And so you're seeing my mess ups, you're seeing my screw ups, you're seeing the aha moments that I have, you're seeing all of that right here with me. And so I'm trying to show you that it's okay to have these moments when you're designing. Nothing is going to be perfect on the first try. In fact, it might not even be perfect on the 10th try. But it's that design process that you're going to continue to grow from each time. And so I have designed the quilt that I want, the table runner that I want to make. And so hopefully Derek can see this on the tiny little television or on the tiny little screen. And so we've got, oops, and I'll turn this around so you can actually see my notes. So I've already started to figure out the size dimensions and all that other stuff that I need. And I've actually created the block. We did that a few weeks ago. And so we created the block when we started this and said, yeah, I really like this. Let's go with this. Okay, well, today when I started playing, and sometimes when you start designing, you just get unenthused about the project. I have a couple of things that just did not work in the last couple of weeks. And it's like, I just don't even know where to go with this. And so today I decided I was going with color. And so I brought out my two focus pieces, and those are my butterflies right here. So these guys right here that we've already picked out our blue. We had already picked out all these lovely hankies that we knew we wanted to use with this I knew that I wanted to use with the project. And so we already have our focus pieces, okay? But all this blue and yellow that I had chosen, and I had even brought in this pink, but nothing was really jumping at me. And even today, when I was like earlier today, I was like, this is not jumping at me. And so I went back to the drawing board and back to the fabric store, which I just have to go downstairs, and decided that I was going to try and find something that sort of blended oops, let me move these out of the way, sort of blended these colors a little bit better. Okay. And so this is what I have come up with. So I took both these guys down there and looked for a print to begin with. And so this is the print I have come up with. And I don't know if I am still extremely happy. I am much happier than I was. This guy is something is still not right, but there is definitely some of this yellow in here. And so it's like, okay, this is the best one I could find to bring everything in. And then I decided, because it's like a window block, that I would bring in a light blue and a light pink. And so I was sort of bringing in some different color to sort of not only bring out this guy, but to also bring out this guy. So now today I have cut all my pieces. So I have, I will move this out of the way. And Derek, am I okay with the little camera right here? Excellent. Okay, so we know that we have the two squares like that. These, and I can put this over to the side just a little bit so you can kind of see what we're doing. And so I have these two little squares that are going to go like this. And then we have, right, that's right. Yes, that's right. Okay, so then the lighter one like that. And the blue, and then the blue is going to be on the lighter pink, and it's going to go like that. And so that's what we're going to do today, is just sort of make up this block. There we go. So you can see everything. We're going to make up this block so that we can really start to imagine how this is going to look. I mean, just doing this, I'm already feeling it. And I really love these colors together. And then I can bring in this guy who's my focus. And then I really want 3D elements in these blocks. I just haven't figured out how to incorporate my lace into those 3D elements. And so that's coming. In my brain, I have a whole nother 3 ideas I want to try, but today not feeling it. Okay, cool. So before I get started, I just have to show off my Sarah mug. She wanted me to make sure I wasn't losing all my stuff. So she made me this delightful container for all my stuff. So thank you, Sarah. And then, of course, I say that and cannot find what I need. So what I'm going to do is I want to make a sew line on these 2 squares right here before I get started. And so what I mean by a sew line is that I am going to mark diagonally. Now, when it gets bigger than an inch, I definitely like to mark mine. If you are cool with being able to see that diagonal, or if you want to use a crease line, then that's fine. I like to mark it. Since this is a sew line, I'm just going to use a light pencil here. I have a friction pen over there hiding from me. I haven't quite gotten it all organized yet, Sarah, but you saw I put it right back in there. So I've got my sew line, and I am going to put that on as I taken that all apart. I want to put that, if my light is going in that direction, I want to make sure that my sew line is going to be coming out of my block like that. If I put it like this, then I could sort of kind of get the same effect, but it's going to be totally wrong. So I want to make sure that my line is coming straight out just like that. And then my other piece, my other square is going to go like that. And so I am going to go ahead and stitch these two together. And then actually, I'm going to go ahead and do my sew lines first. Then I can change to 1/4 of an inch seam. That would be smarter because I am notorious for forgetting to change my seam lines or my seam allowance. Okay, so I just want to double check that I've got this right. So we want this out like that, right? Or do we want it like this? Thank you for being patient, folks. There we go. So that changed my line. I want my line going like that. Probably would have been just fine. But because this is my first one and I'm not ready to chain piece quite yet, don't want to mess this up quite yet. Okay, so cool. And now I'm going to move my little hankies over here and move my camera over here. How's that, Derek? Can you see the sewing machine? Excellent. All right, so I have just turned on my sewing machine. My sewing machine, therefore, is on the center stitch. So I am going to follow that line right down the center. Oh, I got to change my thread. So the nice thing about me doing my live this morning is that I haven't had to load a thing into the truck. The whole family is all nice and sweaty and worn out, and I'm nice and fresh as a daisy. It's great. I won't be this afternoon once we get there, but hey, I'm good right now. Takes us about 2.5 hours to get to Pigeon Forge from where we live. So I am stitching straight on that line. Okay, I lie. I'm actually stitching a little bit to the left of the line. And the reason why is because I know I'm going to have to fold over. And if I fold over straight on the line, then I start to lose a little bit of my fabric. And so I try to go a little bit to the left of that line. That gives me a little bit of ease with my design. All right, here we go. Or with my fabric being able to fold over on that thread. And so this one I actually did to the right. And so let me show you how here is my line right there. It's very hard to see. And then I stitched toward this part because I am going to fold over like that. And I want to have, I should move this down here so that you can see. I want to be able to have as much of that fabric over there as possible. And all I'm doing right now is just finger pressing, and I will cut it in just a second. So here we go. All right, now that I've gotten these two cut or these two sewn, I can switch my needle position over so that I'm now at 1/4 of an inch seam. That's how I do my 1/4 inch seams. I don't change the presser foot or anything. I just move my needle over so that I have, I use my needle foot as my guide. All right, and I'm going to use a 1/4 inch stitch to put these guys together. Oh, thank you. So nice having someone behind the scenes telling me what to do. One of these days, I keep telling them we're going to have a camera that like just goes where I want it to, and I don't have to, all I have to do is think it. AI, I mean, it's coming, right? So I am going to go ahead and press that and press that. And I'm pressing toward the dark. No idea if you can see it. Is it okay, Derek? Awesome. And I'm pressing to the dark. All right, so let's just put this back over here in order of how I want it to go. There we go. Before I go any further, and I am a little bit on the long side with the pink. And so obviously I didn't cut that correctly, so I am going to measure again. And I kind of was nervous when I was cutting it earlier, so I was giving myself a little bit of extra. It's going to need to be 3.5. That is like way too big. Why was it having me cut so much? So this is why we do this, right? This is why we do tests and then we say, okay, that didn't work, especially when we're designing. And EQ8 is what I'm using for my software. EQ8 is most of the time it's really good. Okay, so now I am going to place this guy right on top here. I am still a little bit big. So in order to double check that my seam is gonna be correct on my window, I am going, oops, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim. So I'm just gonna cut that down just to get rid of some of that bulk. Sometimes I don't do it. If it's really, really small pieces, I don't even bother. But because this is I really want to see what's going on here, then I am going to do it. Okay, so I want to make sure that my 1/4 inches are going to be fine, or that I'm going to have that when I hit that 1/4 inch that I'm hitting where I need to over here. So there we go. Perfect. And I'm just going to sew, Derek. It's fine. You can put it on full screen. Okay, let's see if it worked. Look at that. So let me show you again what I did to get this perfect center. And you can see how this stuff isn't quite lining up, but I was a little bit on the big side. So if I put this right on top here, you can see how I'm going to have room to trim anyway. And so I was a little bit on the big side of everything. So what I did, and then let me also do this so that I can make sure I'm doing them the right way. There we go. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to take this right here and trim that off, just like that. And then I'm going to take a pin and at the 1/4 inch mark, which I'm just eyeballing, I'm going to stick it right through where I want that corner to be. And then the same thing over here where I want that 1/4 inch to line up right there. I'm going to go straight through and line these guys up. And then I can move my pin into place and stitch. Ah, there we go. Okay, let's see. Did I do it again 2 times in a row? but first you succeed, try not to act surprised. I did, but you heard that see how I came over a little bit? The seam was moving me over just a little bit. So I'll bet you once that's straight, much better. I mean, it just, you can't get too much closer than that. And now I can square this block up. Well, perfect opportunity for me to bring out my stripology. And so I'm going to grab it right here. It is off to the side. It's the one I want. Okay, so this is my stripology. And if you have not been tuning in on Thursdays, my stripology class on Thursdays is learning how to use the stripology rulers. The stripologies have these slits in them. And I have decided that the stripology ruler in squaring is like, I can't even go back. I tried last week to go back and square a regular way and couldn't do it. And then I taught my mom how to square this week, and yeah, she won't use anything else either. And so we want to have a 3.5-inch square. You can tell, I'm like, let me just double check that I am right. And so I just squared it up to that right there. Okay, I want a 3.5-inch square. So the nice thing about the stripology ruler, and I am going to bring in a darker piece of fabric so that you can sort of see what's going on here, is that you've got these wonderful diagonal lines going everywhere. Okay, if I want to do a 3.5-inch, I'm sorry, that better? Excellent. Okay, so if I want to do a 3.5-inch square, I am going to use these lines out here. Okay, so here we go. Either way, you're definitely going to have, now I also have these nice little stickers that help me to determine where and I've been doing 3-inch squares for quite a while. And so, in fact, I'm done with them. Done with that project. And so I can take this off and I can actually move these stickers to where I can see where my 3.5-inch is, I think. Okay. And so I have found that I've like repositioned these stickers like 20 times now, and they just keep sticking. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep going until they don't stick anymore. So I'll put one here as well. Okay, so now I'm going to square up. You can see how my diagonal line is going straight through right here. My straight line is here, and this is going straight through there. So I'm gonna okay, here is the other cool thing about the stripology ruler, is that notice how you can't see it very well, but this is sort of popping up in the stripology ruler. It's holding it, when I'm using a regular ruler, this thing doesn't give at all. It just sort of, it's like a seesaw on top of my fabric. This sucker is on my fabric. It's not going anywhere, and because it can mold to my square. I think I like that the most of all. In fact, that's what sold me on the squaring of it to begin with. When I watched Gundren square something and saw how that was doing that, I was like, that's it, I'm done. And I've mentioned that I'm having a little bit of, I did the first 2 sides right there. And now I'm going to turn it this way, and I am going to do it again. So I have lined up. Now I have a diagonal line going this way. Isn't that awesome? It just falls right into place. There's no readjusting a ruler. You just line up the horizontal lines and you just go for it. It's really, really awesome. So I'm just sold. I am absolutely sold. So now I have a perfectly squared 3.5-inch ready to go next to my blue square like that. And they are perfect. So that is an exciting addition I got to show you today. So let's do this one as well. I like to make sure everything is squared. If something, even if I'm doing like flying geese or something like that, I want to make sure that all of my stuff is squared, because it just makes your quilt go together. I mean, it takes time Squaring takes time and it's a pain in the butt. I understand. But it goes together so much easier. I am working on a quilt right now downstairs and I just had to get that sucker together really, really fast. Well, it's together but I didn't get to square everything the way I wanted to because I had to get it ready for the show. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to go back and rip a little bit just because there are some places that because I didn't square, points aren't lining up. And so it's going to take me more time in the end because I'm going to have to go back and redo a little bit. And it just would have gone together a little bit easier if I had been able to square it. Okay, so everything is now squared. I will make a note that I want to knock down that one piece to be 3 and it's not 3 7/8. It is going to go down to 3 and it might even go down to just a little over 3.5, but I'm going to mark that one. And then let's take a look and we will be done for today because I'm not necessarily ready. Now that I have this, I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, I'm going to put it over here next to the butterfly. That is going to be fantastic. This little bit of color is going to pop a little bit. All it's going to do though is accent. It's not going to, now I can really get nitpicky on what I want into these little squares so that I can begin actually doing some really creative design work. And so today what we did, was simply to start nailing down the colors for our Hankie table runner. In fact, I completely redid the colors. I completely redid my color scheme and I really love it. I also created the block and demonstrated how to create a window. That's how you create a window block. The easy way, that's the easy way. You can do Y seams. Y seams are when you have to go into the center. This is a bit easier. I recommend using darker colors when you're doing the actual square part. And then I taught you how you can line up this window with a pin so that you can easily get that correct in your 1/4 inch. Next week, we will be hopefully back to figuring out the 3D element that's going to go in here. I really do hope by next week that my brain will have figured this out. Lots and lots of ideas. If nothing else, we will definitely try 3 different ones to try and figure out how we want to get something else, a flower or something in here to make it look really, really cool. And then don't forget that Thursday, I am going to do a pre-recorded session on the stripology. I want to fix a little mistake that I made from last week, so be sure to tune in. And then also add on to what we've been doing as well as review a little bit. So I hope that you will join me. Hey, Thursday, you could join anytime because it's going to be semi-live. I will hopefully be able to comment on the video while you guys are watching it, but it won't go live until Thursday. Make sure you like, subscribe, and do all that other commenting stuff that you like to do on social media. And we will see you very soon. I think I'll do a live from Pigeon Forge tomorrow and just say hi, and then we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.